everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. Today we're going to get to work on our 2003 Dodge Ram 3500 dually. The first thing we're going to do is something that I've wanted to do since the first minute I even saw this truck. Even before it was mine, I wanted to do this. And that is get this terrible, horrible home tint job off of these front windows. You can see we did that one already. And I learned a trick on YouTube, how to do it. YouTube is great, isn't it? So you get yourself a clothing steamer. We bought this at the auction for 20 bucks. And you just slowly start heating it up. Just like Deb is doing. It helps if you've got a helper. But it is manageable. If you've got a little more room, you can sort of do it yourself. And then you just, once it's heated up, you slowly start peeling it back. I'll show you when we get going here. The steamer is the right thing to use. Like, you don't want to grab a heat gun or a blow dryer. It makes it too hot and it just melts everything. What we're trying to do is heat this to the point that it releases the glue from the glass. So we take off the tint film and the glue. Otherwise, if you just started going willy-nilly with a scraper, you just make a big mess and you'd be out here all day with gasoline and rubbing alcohol trying to get the glue off. So let's see here if we can get it started up in this top corner. For some reason, up here at the very top, where it was underneath the vent visor, it does leave a little bit of glue. But we'll get that off after, no worries. Well, we're down to the nitty-gritties now. When you get down in these bottom corners, that's when it gets tricky. But you just go really slow. And don't pull too hard on it, because then you break it, especially when we've kind of got one layer of the onion skin off already and we're just pulling the other layer. It's really fragile. You can see here how nice the window looks now that that horrible tint is off. And while we had the steamer out, we also used it to release the glue on these door handle caps. These are aftermarket things that people used to stick on, but I don't really care for them, so they're off. We also went around and took these things off. I won't know till I wash the truck how bad the paint is underneath them. I got a funny feeling these things have been on there since it was almost new, so I'm pretty sure this will clean up quite nicely. Come springtime, we'll go around and address all this little kind of stuff like this. That's more of a outside on a nice summer day kind of job than in here. I got the batteries out. I charged them up and load tested them, and wouldn't you know, that one's good. It's a good strong battery. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. This one is shorted internally or something, and it was basically dragging both of them down. So anyway, that's not going back in. I've got two new ones. I've got them just set in there for now. I started pulling out some of the unneeded spaghetti. We got the air horns out and the wires that were feeding them, they're out. And I'm just crawling around under the dash trying to figure out what in the world all this stuff runs. Because it is not for the brake controller, because the brake controller is actually plugged into the factory plug for the brake controller under the dash. So this stuff, I'm guessing, one is probably for the CB and the other is for the little compressor that they're running the air ride with. That's just my guess. We got to get in under the dash and chase some wires around and see where the heck these things go. Oh, I'm just so happy we got that tint film off. And you can see here the fender cleaned up pretty good where that little molding was. It has rubbed through the paint in this one little spot here. We'll fix that up. I'd still rather look at that any day than those moldings. A couple of other things I noticed. It's really hard to see, but on the turbo back here, the back mounting stud is busted off. So we're going to have to pull the turbo down and replace the studs in it. While I'm at it, I'll change the oil line and the drain line And I'm going to pull the manifold off because this water pipe is looking a little sketchy too. It goes down here and then goes the full length of the engine and back up into the water manifold at the front here. Another thing I noticed, I'll show you when I get this out, but the air box, somebody has been at it with a hole saw, drilling a bunch of holes in the bottom of it for like a hot air injection. I don't know what they figured they were accomplishing by doing that. But we'll see if we can find a good used air box somewhere, or we'll just plug up the holes in this one. And I found I was crawling around underneath it. This thing is spectacular underneath. It is just unbelievable. But it's an oily, gooey mess because of all the rust proofing that's been sprayed on it. But the rear drive shaft, the front one's okay. The rear one, somebody has changed the U-joints and done a bad job. And the clips are all kind of half hanging out. So I'm going to order 3 U-joints, and just because I'm in there, a hanger bearing. And we'll get that all changed. Here's the next thing we got to deal with. These dually wheels on the back do not want to come off. I've had the nuts off. I've banged them with a sledgehammer. They're not budging. So what we're going to do, I've run the lug nuts out till they're flush with the end of the stud. And we're just going to go bomb around the back 40 a little bit. That should loosen them up. I wouldn't recommend driving down the road like this, but staying on your own property, that's a-okay. And that should loosen them up. Doesn't take much to get them freed up. I think I heard a bit of a clunk back there, so yeah, I can hear it clunking around, so I think we've got it loose. And there you can see we have success. So I'll tighten those back up and torque them because we've got a little running around to do with her yet. I got to get down to Claremont and get some fuel in it because it's literally on fumes. And if we're going to be working on it and running it around and stuff, it needs to have fuel in it so it doesn't run out. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to run down to Claremont and get some fuel. There's something not right with this seat belt too. We'll work on that. It's just nice that it starts now at least. Camera's kind of precarious. I hope it stays where I put it. Take the curve nice and gentle so it doesn't tip over. Well, that was pretty good. I did notice one thing, how the RPM kind of hangs in between shifts when you let off the throttle. That could either be a sign that the injectors are starting to reach the end of their life, or that could just be how these 24 valve engines are. I don't know. I've never had one. We'll see what happens after we run this injector cleaner through it. Well, we'll see if we can spiffy this thing up a little bit before I start working on it, because it is just an oily, icky mess under here. So I've soaked it all down with degreaser, and we'll let it sit for a few minutes. Then we'll get the power washer going and see what happens. Today we're at the junkyard and we're looking for parts for our 2003 Ram 3500. You're not going to find a 3500 in the junkyard, but there's lots of 1500s, and a lot of the non-mechanical stuff is the same. So let's see what we can find. Here's a couple here of the right vintage. What we're looking for is 2003, actually 2002 on the 1500s to 2005, and they will give up a lot of the parts that we need. So let's check out this one first and see what we can use on it. Okay, so from those two down there, we managed to get a dash pad. You remember from the video, ours is all cracked to bits. And we got that little piece of noise insulation for the cowl that the squirrels ate on our truck. And from this one here, even though it's kind of the next generation, we were able to get the upper and lower door hinges for the left front door. There must be some kind of cult that collects the grills from 3rd gen Rams, because the grill on every single one of them in here is gone. Also, another popular item on these trucks that I haven't found so far is the window master switch. It's gone from every single one of them in here. We'll keep looking. And I saved the best part of this truck for last. This is the best. Outstanding. This guy got his money's worth out of his brakes, that's for sure. Oh, that's it for Boneyard number 1. Before we depart for Boneyard number 2, we're going to enjoy one of Deb's famous going to the junkyard picnic lunches. Welcome to Boneyard number 2. You never know what you'll find in this place. A super stretch. Wow. I wonder who's ridden in that. Anybody we know? Here we are at Boneyard number 3. Check this out. There's cool stuff already. We got 2 Cadillac Elantes. These are pretty neat. Not sure if they're good cars or not, but they're cool to look at. Awesome. And on the other side of the fence here, we've got a Ram SRT 10. So this is a 2006 Ram 1500 with a Viper engine, a Tremec 6-speed tranny. These things are crazy. You can see it looks like it's hit pretty hard on the front. So I guess it had an untimely demise. There's a big Class A RV waiting to go out there. Look at this old F-250. This is what road salt does to your car or your truck. Holy Toledo. Brother, what a mess. Great place for the computer, eh? We got a few doodads here I'll show you when we get home. We got to get out of here now and go pick up the boys. So here's our loot from the wreckers today. We got the dash top and the speaker grill. That's all one piece. We got our little piece of cowl insulation that we need. We got a pair of door hinges for our left front door. And we are able to find on one the factory under hood light. So we can install that. Hopefully the plug is there. Some of them have the plug for it, some of them don't. We'll see if we've got the plug. And then our left rear door, the power lock doesn't work. These trucks are known for broken wires in this little harness here, right in that area there between the door and the body. So we found one that had no discernible broken wires in there. So we just pulled the whole door harness and the lock solenoid out of the door. Hopefully we've got what we need to fix this here. We were not able to find a power window master switch, so I'm going to have to buy a new one. And there was a couple of other little bits and pieces I was looking for. Most of the 3rd gen trucks we saw today were pretty well picked over. We'll just have to keep checking for fresh inventory and see if we can find some more stuff later. We also got a windshield post trim because ours, the driver's side one, has got a bunch of holes in it for that pyro gauge that doesn't work. So we'll replace it with this one. We're well on track with the dually now. We ordered our big order of parts and got the stuff that we knew we needed. Then I wanted to have a really good look at it underneath, which we did the other day, and I identified a couple of other things like the U-joints and the hanger bearing. We're going to order that. And then the last things I wanted to do before I made my last parts order was take the thing for a drive, which we did the other day when we went down and got fuel. And I wanted to make a trip to the wreckers to make sure I didn't find any of the things like the power window master switch that I needed there. We struck out. So I can go ahead now and put in my last parts order. Once that stuff all shows up, we can get to work and get this truck ready to go in for its safety inspection and then get it on the road proper. And then we can start cleaning it up, fixing it up, doing our little things that we want to do to it. And it's going to be a nice truck, man. I can't wait. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Hope you'll join us again. And until then, this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. So long for now.